The wind was dry, dragging dust across the pavement like a restless hand. Beyond the barbed fences of Fort Brooks, the desert shimmered with heat mirages. A single woman walked slowly toward the outer checkpoint. Her name wasn't listed on any roster. Her clearance wasn't active, but she walked. Like someone who belonged. Have you ever seen someone who looked completely ordinary? Until everything stopped for them? You're watching a story about the invisible ones. Tell us, which country are you watching from? She wore a faded military jacket, canvas torn at the shoulder, boots that had seen more than sand. Her backpack was dusty, olive-colored, heavy. She carried no weapon, made no sudden moves. 2 guards at the checkpoint, Private Logan and Specialist. Renee straightened as they spotted her. Logan, ID, ma'am. She stopped without hesitation and handed over a visitor's badge. It was bent at the corner, the ink slightly faded, expired. Renee raised an eyebrow. Logan tightened his grip on the rifle. Renee, this pass expired 3 weeks ago. What's your business here? The woman's voice was calm. Woman, drone calibration consulting. Temporary clearance issued last month. They said they'd notify command. Logan, they didn't. Step aside, ma'am. We're going to need to inspect your belongings. She said nothing, just unzipped her bag slowly. Inside the small concrete checkpoint hut, metal inspection table cold beneath the overhead lights, her items were laid out one by one. A compact soldering iron, an encrypted optics calibrator, folded schematics of drone circuitry, a worn military-grade logbook, one faded cloth patch barely, visible stitching, in the shape of a wolf inside a fog ring. Renee picked it up. Renee, this looks military. Where'd you get this? Woman, it's mine. Logan frowned. Logan, you're not on any contractor list. This patch isn't from any current unit. Renee, quietly. It almost looks ghost-like. The woman didn't respond. She didn't flinch. She simply waited, eyes focused on a point beyond them. Guards began checking her bag more aggressively, flipping inner linings. One of them ripped the bottom seam. Another compartment opened, revealing a second folded cloth. Gray embroidery again, same wolf insignia. Logan's brows furrowed. Logan, all right, enough. Ma'am, you're not cleared. You'll need to stay until command arrives. Still no resistance, only silence. That's when he walked by. Colonel Nathan Briggs, senior officer, 32 years of service, heading toward the operations wing with 2 aides behind him, caught the scene from the corner of his eye. His gaze fell on the table, on the patch, on the woman. He stopped mid-step. Briggs, softly, where did you get that? The room stilled. The woman turned slightly, enough for their eyes to meet. The colonel took one slow step forward, then another. He whispered something the guards could barely hear. Briggs, stand down. Don't touch anything else. That's Ghost Recon. Renee blinked. Logan's mouth opened, then closed again. Renee, whisper, Sir, that unit doesn't exist anymore. Briggs, exactly. Colonel Briggs motioned quietly. Briggs, bring her to command room 2, now, no questions. No chatter. He didn't take his eyes off her. Not out of suspicion, but recognition. The woman nodded once, as if she'd been expecting this. Logan and Renee obeyed, puzzled but silent. Outside, a transport cart pulled up. She sat without being asked. The guard stayed tense. She sat still, hands folded in her lap. The patch was back in her bag. As the cart rolled toward the secure gates, Logan glanced over, still unsure. Logan muttering, Ghost Recon. That's just a myth, right? Renee, then why did a colonel freeze at the sight of her? Silence followed. The woman stared ahead, focused, calm, waiting. The room was cold, sterile. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting harsh shadows over a steel desk bolted to the floor. 2 chairs faced each other across it, one occupied by Colonel Briggs, the other empty. The woman stepped in without hesitation. She didn't wait for instruction. She sat down. Briggs, name? Woman, Evelyn Shaw. Briggs, call sign? Evelyn, Shadow 9. He tapped his tablet twice, waiting for the classified files to load. None did. The screen read, Record not found. Briggs, without looking up. You're not in any system. Even Ghost Recon scrubbed. Evelyn, that's how it was meant to be. He leaned back, studying her. Briggs, they said everyone in Kandahar was KIA. I was at the debrief. Saw the reports. But you're sitting here. Evelyn, some walked out. I did. 2 others did too. He stiffened. Briggs, who were they? Evelyn, I'll tell you if I confirm the signature. I'm not here to stir ghosts, I'm here to stop one. The wall-sized screen blinked to life. Evelyn stood in front of it, surrounded by a half-circle of officers and two silent tech specialists. A video played, drone footage from a training exercise 3 days prior. At first, everything seemed routine. Then a sharp static spike. The drones wobbled, then accelerated erratically, ignoring flight paths. Evelyn paused the feed. Evelyn, this isn't a malfunction. It's a signal attack. See the frequency here? That's layered code. Legacy Ghost Recon counter-jamming reversed. Tech Officer Graham. But only Ghost could. Evelyn cutting him off. Exactly. Only we could build this. Or break it. Briggs rubbed his forehead. Briggs. You're saying someone from your unit went rogue? Evelyn. Not just rogue. They've gone operational. They're testing systems, laying traps, and they know we'll blame equipment. Briggs. Why didn't you come sooner? She looked at him. Evelyn. Because last time I reported something, I vanished. Silence, heavy. She walked alone now, led by access from Briggs himself. Evelyn descended 5 levels underground. She reached a sealed door. Fingerprint iris scan, voice print. Computer voice. Access granted. Welcome, Shadow 9. Inside was a private archive. Shelves lined with encrypted logs, tapes, prototype drone parts. She moved like she knew every inch. Her hands ran over one box. She opened it, pulled out a black schematic folder. Inside, her original notes. Pages coded in a cipher only Ghost Recon members used. She flipped to a recent page, an unknown entry. New ink, fresh. She froze. Evelyn softly. No, you didn't. The signature was unmistakable, not hers, but someone she used to trust. Someone who had the same clearance. Visual shift, sepia tones, rapid camera pans, audio slightly distorted by static. Gunfire, screams, a downed drone smoldering. Her squad trapped in an abandoned school. Radio. We're surrounded. Evacs 5 mics out. Hold! Evelyn's fingers raced across a comms board. Teammate. They're jamming everything. Evelyn. Not everything. Give me 5 seconds. He rerouted the uplink. A last-minute override pushed the evac signal through. The squad ran. Explosions behind them. Only 5 made it to the extraction point. Officially, none did. Colonel Briggs waited in the drone command room. She entered, placed the folder on the table. Evelyn. It's him. Briggs. Who? Evelyn. Gideon Rourke. Shadow 6. Briggs froze. That name hadn't been spoken in years. Evelyn. He used to believe in the mission. Until he didn't. And now he's weaponizing everything we built. Briggs. Where do we start? Evelyn. We let him think no one noticed, and then we follow the signal. The moon was high, casting pale light over Fort Brooks. Inside, Evelyn stood before a digital map of the Southwest Training Sector. Red markers blinked like warning beacons. Colonel Briggs leaned over a steel table with 2 officers. Lieutenant Graham tapped through layers of encrypted terrain overlays. Evelyn. This is where the signature first appeared. Training Zone Delta, that's where we'll set the bait. Graham. You're suggesting we use a real drone? Evelyn. Yes, let them think they're winning. We mirror a vulnerability. Then trace the back door. Briggs. Are you sure you're ready for this, Evelyn? If he knows you're alive? Evelyn. He already does. That signal, he used my old failsafe. He wanted me to notice. A long pause, then... Briggs. Then we give him what he wants. Under the cover of darkness, the drone team assembled. Evelyn led a 6-person tactical crew. Silent. Alert. Eyes scanning the moonlit terrain. A modified MQ-27 drone lifted quietly from the airstrip, carrying encrypted decoy data. Evelyn stood at the control terminal with headphones pressed to one ear. Tech operator. Drone is live. Telemetry nominal. We're feeding the false codes now. Evelyn, stand by. Interference should hit in under 5 minutes. The desert was still. Then, a pulse. Faint static washed over the radio feed. Evelyn's hand tightened on the control stick. Evelyn, signal spike. East quadrant. Narrow bandwidth, exactly like Kandahar. The screen flickered. The drone staggered mid-air. Graham, he's in. Should we shut it down? Evelyn, no, not yet. I want to see how deep he goes. Behind her, Briggs watched silently. Inside a mobile command truck, tech officers filtered signal threads. Evelyn overrode protocols, tracing packet footprints with brutal efficiency. Evelyn, this encryption, it's personal. He's embedding code inside the telemetry, like he's writing a message. She magnified the output. Letters appeared, buried inside data strings. You're late, Shadow 9. The room went still. Briggs, he knows we're watching. Evelyn, he's taunting us. But that message, it confirms something. He's not just watching the drones. He's inside the base network. Graham paled. Graham, That's not possible. Our internal systems aren't even... Evelyn. Not connected, I know. But if he hard-planted a device on base months ago, he wouldn't need a connection. Briggs. How do we find it? Evelyn. We follow his signature trail. Everything he builds, even in sabotage, has a fingerprint. Rourke never changed his algorithm style. Evelyn walked the old maintenance tunnels under Fort Brooks, dark, narrow, lined with rusted conduit and forgotten gear. She paused near a ventilation grate, removed it. Inside, a black box transmitter. Still warm. She held it up. Evelyn. This is how he's watching! We've got a physical breach. She opened the casing. Inside was a power node tagged with numbers. Her eyes narrowed. Evelyn. This frequency is tied to a location. He's feeding the data out to a satellite relay. Graham, via radio, triangulating. We've got a hit. Coordinates locked to a mountain range outside Elko, Nevada. Briggs's voice came over the comms. Briggs, we have an external operations post out there. But it's been dormant since last year. Evelyn, not anymore. That's where he's building his nest, back at base. The sun was rising. Evelyn sat in Briggs's office sipping black coffee. Her hands were steady, her voice sharper. Briggs, you understand what this means. If you go out there, this becomes a recovery or kill mission. Evelyn, he used to be one of us. That doesn't buy him immunity. Briggs, you sure you can face him? Evelyn, I have to. If I don't, he'll keep erasing everything we ever stood for. Briggs, then I'll authorize it. But Evelyn, don't do this alone. Evelyn, I work better in shadows. Have you ever had to face someone you once trusted? Let us know in the comments, and tell us, what country are you watching from? A blacked-out SUV rumbled down a dirt access road near Elko, Nevada. Evelyn sat in the back seat, checking her gear, signal scanner, encrypted laptop, an old sidearm she hadn't touched in years. Lieutenant Graham sat beside her, unusually quiet. He finally broke the silence. Graham, do you really think he'll be there? Evelyn, no doubt, he wants me to come. Graham, why not bring a full strike team? Evelyn, because that's not how ghosts fight. You bring noise, they disappear. A ridge came into view. Broken radio towers. A watch post built into the cliffside. It looked abandoned, but Evelyn knew better. Evelyn, pull over here. We walked the rest. Boots crunched over gravel. The wind whipped dust into their faces as Evelyn and Graham hiked the final slope. Evelyn raised a hand to stop. She pulled out a thermal lens. Nothing visible, but a faint heat signature behind a metal plate. A hidden entrance. Graham, that wasn't on the blueprints. Evelyn, it wouldn't be. He built this himself. This whole site, it's off-grid. She approached the panel, slid a wire into a seam, and typed something onto her handheld device. The metal creaked. The entrance hissed open. Inside, silence. Cold, humming lights flickered overhead. Rows of outdated drone prototypes sat like sleeping machines. A table in the center held photographs, recon reports, Evelyn's own field diagrams, copied and modified. It was her work, perverted. Then, a voice from the shadows. Voice. I wondered how long it would take you. Gideon Rourke stepped forward. Unshaven, cold eyes. Ghost Recon badge hung around his neck like a relic. Rourke. They erased us, Evelyn. But I built something better. No politics. No oversight. Just results. Evelyn. You sabotaged a live base. You risked people. Rourke. To prove a point. They forgot us. I reminded them. Evelyn, we chose the shadows. We didn't choose madness. His smirk vanished. Rourke, you're still clinging to that old code? She raised the scanner. Evelyn, where's the override command, Gideon? Before someone gets killed. Rourke, you came here thinking this was about codes. Evelyn, this is about control. The world still runs on systems I designed. I just shifted the balance. Behind him, a server lit up. Transmission active target, Fort Brooks. Evelyn, you're launching another attack. Rourke, no, I'm finishing the war they pretended never happened. Evelyn pulled her sidearm. Graham followed suit, covering the right flank. Graham, shut it down now. Rourke, you think this ends here? I planted redundancies. You can't kill an idea. Evelyn, I'm not here to kill an idea. I'm here to stop you. She tapped a command on her wrist device. The server's lights dimmed. Rourke, what did you do? Evelyn, rewrote your signal pathways. Backdoor you missed. We built it in case one of us ever lost the mission. Rourke, you betrayed me. Evelyn, you betrayed yourself. Rourke lunged. The two crashed into the table. Blueprints scattered. Graham tackled Rourke, pinning him down. Graham, Sir, he's restrained. Base confirmed. Attack blocked. The sky had turned orange when they returned. Colonel Briggs waited in the drone bay. Briggs, we read the burst, then nothing. Whatever you did out there, it worked. Evelyn, he's in custody. But he's right about one thing. He left breadcrumbs. Others might try again. Briggs, then we adapt. Evelyn, start by wiping all legacy code. Rebuild from zero. I'll give you the schematics, but not as your staff. As your ghost. Briggs, understood. They shook hands. Not as officer and asset. As soldiers who'd been through the same war, twice. Have you ever seen someone cross the line and still hope they'd turn back? Tell us your story below. The morning sun stretched shadows across the checkpoint pavement. Private Logan was back on rotation. This time he stood straighter. Eyes sharper. He saw her before the others did. The woman with the olive backpack. Same canvas jacket. No salute, no fuss. She simply walked past the guards. No ID check, no questions. They all knew who she was now. Logan to new recruit. That's Miss Shaw. Don't ask her for credentials. Just open the gate. New recruit. But isn't she? Logan, just watch. You'll learn more in 10 seconds than a year of training. Evelyn moved through the base tech bay like she belonged. And now she did. Younger officers followed her with quiet respect. She didn't lecture. She showed them, gently correcting, pointing, building. The systems were stronger now, secure, sharper. And all of them carried her fingerprint, even if her name was never officially restored. Tech officer, Miss Shaw, you coming next week too? Evelyn, depends if the shadows stay quiet, they smiled. Outside the checkpoint building, on a quiet back wall near the inspection hut, a small steel plaque had been installed. No fanfare, no ceremony. It simply read, in honor of the one who didn't need orders to protect us, Ghost Recon lives on. Some days Evelyn would pause there. Not long, just long enough. She never stayed for the recognition. She stayed to make sure no one else was forgotten. Recruits moved in. New techs trained up. But the stories remained. They didn't talk about Evelyn Shaw like a legend. They talked about her like a standard. Trainer, you want to understand systems? Learn the ones built by people who were never officially listed. Trainee, like Shadow 9? Trainer, exactly. Evelyn sat alone in a coffee shop outside town. Civilian jacket, no badge. Just her and a weathered notebook. A server passed her a receipt. She left a folded schematic instead. Sometimes you don't need an office to make impact. Sometimes you don't need a title to lead. You just need to keep showing up. She closed the notebook and disappeared into the morning. If Evelyn Shaw's quiet strength moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Black and Wronged, the channel where real stories of honor, humility, and hidden heroism are brought to light. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story that matters. And in the comments, tell us, who are the silent protectors in your life?